Thanks for tuning in to the 15th episode of the Handmade with Heart podcast. On this episode, I interview Pamela from Still Not a Hippie. We chat about creating different types of content for social media, such as packing videos and ASMR, free classes available for small business owners, and setting up a rewards and referral program. Hello everyone, welcome to the Handmade with Heart podcast. I'm your host Dana, and I own the small business Scrappy Stitch. Have you ever wanted to know more about some of your favorite small businesses? Follow along as I interview other creative small business owners. We'll talk about getting started, what an average day for a creator is like, tips and tricks, and of course everything is handmade with heart. Hey Pamela, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us how you got started.
Okay, well, my name is Pamela. I am the person behind Still Not a Hippie. How it started, it's kind of weird because I come from I hate to say, I come from a sales background. I hate saying that too because it's like, oh, but that is what happened. Still Not a Hippie just came about just out of pure necessity. It was years ago before Still Not a Hippie. I was in the corporate world, small corporate world. I worked for a small luxury adult product company. It was like high tech at the time, which was awesome. So very small, but I was the director of sales. So I was on the road a lot. I was a road warrior and flying across the country back and forth all over the place. I, discovered solid shampoo and conditioner because, the liquids bag, because you're trying to save all that space and use it for other things. And then I was in Seattle, Washington, at Pike Place Market. And that is where I discovered solid lotion. I was like, what is this? I thought it was exactly what everyone thinks when they see my solid lotion bars. I thought it was soap. And then I was like, no, it's solid lotion. Wow. What's solid lotion? I'm like, I don't understand what this is. They showed it to me. I'm like, I scooped it up, took it on the road with me. And every time I went back to Seattle for work, I would stop there and restock. So I thought, this is amazing. It's just beeswax and this and that and this and that. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then I didn't really think about it. I was just using the product all the time. And then I left that company 2013. So we separated ways and I was on a mission trip to Guatemala. So prior to that, actually, I was looking at stuff that I was putting on my body. I was cutting down on store brand, mass produced stuff. I was just using a jar of coconut oil just as moisturizer and my makeup remover and everything else. So I was slowly working my way into paying attention to what I was putting on my body. Putting into my body is a completely different story because I'm still eating crap and whatever. I wanted to just kind of simplify what I was using. And this trip to Guatemala kind of opened my eyes a little bit because I was talking to other people about what they were using. I think that's where the whole essential oil thing came into play. It was just that lavender is relaxing. It's oh yeah, it's a really nice scent. You don't pay much attention to it. And then I was like, oh yeah. I started realize what the scent of lavender does, how peppermint can make you feel. But when I came back, I was like, okay, let me just kind of figure out what I want to do, what I want to make for myself. I was like, let me figure out this solid lotion thing. It's for shits and giggles. Let me see what I can do if I can make this. So I did. And I was like, okay, it's cool. Make it for myself. And then I'm like, let me dig more into all this other stuff too. And I had friends who got really bad headaches. And so I was like, let me try to come up with something, I'm like, let me just make this balm. Let me find the recipe, tweak it, see what works, what oils work together, what scents work together. That's the headache balm. I was giving it to my friends to try. And they were like, I love this. I'm like, thank you, So I was just giving it away. And then my sister was pregnant and she needed something for her belly because it was itchy. So that's the belly balm. The baby and mama line came about for my sister, essentially. She was pregnant with her first. So I think there's some pictures of my oldest nephew. So the little baby holding the baby balm. little Jackson approved. The tattoo balm was made because my friend has a tattoo shop and he wanted something that was more natural to use for his clients. And then it just kind of went from there. People were like, can I buy that? Oh, okay.
That's sure. Cool.
But yeah, it's just all just out of pure necessity and curiosity and just okay. It's easy. It's simple product because it's just 3 ingredients for the lotion bar, Almost everything is some sort of combination of beeswax, coconut oil, and shea butter, but in different ratios. So you can have the solid lotion or you can have more of the balm. And then sometimes other oils or whatever. But yeah, it was kind of weird how that happened. And the name was just because when I was making stuff for myself, people were making fun of me, like, you're such a hippie. I'm like, I'm still not a hippie. I'm like, I'm gonna go do this now. I'm gonna make some of this, but I'm still not a hippie. And so that was like my little personal hashtag, like on my Facebook post. And then I was like, I can make it a name.
That's
Kind of
cool.
fun. I'm gonna show like when people see my business name, because they just walk by and they just start laughing. They're like, still not a hippie.
Yeah.
It's like it's just for fun.
I love it. Now, I know you make limited edition scents too.
Mhm.
How do you decide how long to offer those for?
To be honest, that's just off the top of my head. I just
Okay.
kind of it's like, oh yeah, it's about that time. Like I should probably do that. How much of my mental bandwidth do I want to put towards this? 2 weeks is good. A month is good. Winter, And then I'm like, all right, I'm done. I'm over it. I'm like, let's move on to something else. Like I really don't plan because I have this, and I'm trying to stay above water with my life, and then I also have work. So it's a balance, because I had someone ask me like, hey, are you bringing minty lemon back? I'm like, oh yeah. And she asked me, I think last month, she's like, when do you think you bring it? I'm like, I don't know, maybe May. I'm in the middle of Center Gibbs right now, so that'll happen sometime soon. I'll let you know.
Yeah.
For like the really limited stuff, like Hello Sunshine, Minty Lemon, or the Lavender Solid Lotion. For me, it's like the shorter the time span, the better for me, because I just hate to just drag it out. And like, if you want it, you've asked for it, buy it now. Like I put it out there for you. You asked for it. No, you can buy it. But yeah, so it really just depends on how I'm feeling that day, when I feel like posting about it. Anyway, okay, let's see. Do we want this to run for this long? All right, sure.
Is that how you do your sales too? Just whatever
Yeah,
a whim?
yeah. It's just like, okay, I guess. Oh yeah, my birthday. Let's do that.
Yeah.
Like I just feel like doing a sale today because whatever. Sometimes I just give. Actually, a lot of times the people who sign up for my mailing list get access to stuff first, because they're paying attention. I'm like, oh, thanks for opening my email, because I know they don't come as often as everybody else. And there's other people like send out emails every week. I'm like, I don't know how people do this.
Yeah.
And I send it out once a month if you're lucky. I was like, I don't know what to say. Like, and I don't want it to always be sale, buy stuff. I want it to be information, or just here's what's going on in my life. If you don't follow me on the social media, like there's no rhyme or reason behind my stuff. I mean, some of the stuff makes sense, like Black Friday. It's like, oh yeah, it's Black Friday. I need to get on. I am a hot mess a lot of the time.
That really surprises me that you say that, because I know you post a lot about your Rocketbook notebook. So tell everybody about that and how you use that for your small business.
Okay, so the Rocketbook is a reusable notebook, which I love. I've been eyeing this thing up for so long, and then my fiance got it for me for 1 year. And it's just a very thin notebook, but it's paper, but it's wipeable, it's reusable. So you have these friction pens. They're from Pilot, so they kind of partnered up. And these pens, you can use the little eraser, which uses heat. So the ink, if it's exposed to heat, it disappears. When it's cold, it comes back. But like you just take, like it's some sort of a plastic coating on this paper, and all you do is just take some water or just a little damp napkin, toilet paper, whatever the hell, and you just wipe it away. That's it. But the thing is, it has an app, so you can scan the page. It sends it to whatever cloud service you want it to send. So you always have a record if you want it. But I love it because it has helped me save so much paper. And then like there's a calendar. I loved it because I would like keep track. This color is my life. This color is, the center. This color is still not a hippie. So I could look at it, track things. But I love it because it's just wipe it away and start all over again. I'm one of those people that I had notebooks, just random notebooks, and I'm like scrolling. They're trying to find the stuff.
Yeah.
It's such a waste of paper. But Rocketbook is awesome. He got me, which one is it? The Fusion, the Rocketbook Fusion. They have a Kickstarter now. They're working on sticky notes.
Oh,
they
wow.
have sticky notes, reusable sticky notes. If the sticky part gets unsticky, you just run it underwater to like, do the thing, and then it dries and it's sticky again. You know how that stuff goes? Like, I don't even know how that works. It's like magic.
Yeah, I don't know how that works either.
I do love my Rocketbook because I just used it for notes yesterday that I'll scan and then just wipe away and use again. Like using that, like I put so many notes in there, like things that when I get on webinars, there's always notes. I even made like a page, Imperfect Inspiration, I think that's what it is. She blew up on TikTok. She has the planners for ADHD brains.
Okay.
So I kind of put one of her pages together with one of Rocketbook's pages. I made them have a baby,
I
which
think I saw you did that. Yeah.
yeah, I laminated it so that way I just use like whatever, like the wet erase markers.
Mm-hmm.
So then I can scan it and keep it and then just keep using it again. I love the Rocketbook. I love her stuff. It seems to work better for my brain, like because she has like a brain dump. She has this, and it's just easier to track because as much as I love the planners, like sometimes it doesn't work with me. Like,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
pretty sure I have ADHD. I'm pretty sure I do. It's just not diagnosed. But yeah, like I made them have a Bibbit, and I need to use it more often too. It's so much better than having just piles of paper
Yeah.
or like 5,000 notebooks with like that you use like 15 pages out of and then move on to another notebook because you couldn't find the first notebook. And it's just easier because it's just easier to carry around. But yeah, that's my Rocketbook.
Yeah. That's so cool. You post a lot of packing videos on Instagram and TikTok, and I think people really like that. I've done that before too, and people will often say to me, "Oh my gosh, you packed it with such care. Like, I love that." Is that why you continue to do that too?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like it. Also, it's content.
Yeah.
But it's just nice because people can see what we do. You know, I like to wrap things up when they can get wrapped. I'm not going to wrap a single tube, just so everyone knows you're not getting a little tube wrapped up because it's hard to wrap something like that. Especially if you're buying it for yourself. It's like a little gift to yourself. You
Yeah.
know, and it's just exciting. I really like packing the stuff in the boxes because it's easier, it's faster. But still, I try to pack it so it looks nice. I am not at the level that some of these other makers are. They are amazing. Like some of the branded tissue paper. I don't have that kind of money.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'd rather put the money towards the product or cut down the pricing because you know a lot of that gets worked into the product pricing too. So I keep it as simple as possible. But yeah, I love it. And I know a lot of people like the ASMR aspect of it. Like,
Yeah. Explain what that is for people that don't know.
they like the sounds, like the box is getting folded. Someone's like, oh,
Crinkling paper,
yeah,
like, and
sound.
people
And it
are
makes
really into that because I've made a couple of videos when I bought my Scrappy Stitch stamp. I made an ASMR video of like unwrapping and, using it for the first time. The sound of the stamper coming off of the paper.
it gives you like the tingles in your brain. And it's the
Yeah.
autonomous sensory meridian response.
I don't think I ever even knew that.
Yeah, a term used to describe a tingling, static-like, or goosebump sensation in response to specific triggering audio or visual stimuli. Because I know some people love watching the stuff cool. They're like, oh.
I know. I have to say, I like your videos of that too. I was
Yeah.
watching them yesterday.
Like, I like doing it. Like, it's just, I have to remember to set stuff up when I'm pouring. Because sometimes I'm pouring in the middle of the night. The lighting is not great.
Right.
So it's like things I have to remember to do. But I love just trying to get different aspects when I'm packing. But right now, since I have this new light, I have that canvas light. So it's just right overhead, which I love. But I used to like shoot like close up. But it's a pain sometimes because you're like trying to do it and it takes you like 3 times longer to record the video because you want to get different aspects of it.
Yeah.
Or if my neighbor is outside making noise and I'm just like, I can't do it. I think I actually made a TikTok of me just sitting there. Can't do it because they're outside having a conversation with the mailman. But yeah, I love doing it. Like I love seeing other people's packing videos.
Yeah, I do too.
Just to see what they do. I'm like, oh my God, they make that so cute. I have so many mailers. I love the little hollow mailers. They're just so cute. I want to use more of like reuse a lot of my packaging again. I've seen other makers reuse like their Amazon packaging, which I also want to start doing too. I mean, it may not look pretty on the outside, but I like people knowing when they got my package because they're like, I know that hollow mailer, like that's mine. That's, that's still not a Hippie package.
I know people who have taken the Amazon cardboard boxes, they open them up and then they flip them inside out so that the Amazon stuff is on the inside. Yeah. And then you basically have like a new box.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'd be nervous that it's like gonna decrease the integrity of the box as you're folding it the other way. That's what would make me nervous. I don't ship anything that's heavy, so. But yeah, like I love doing them. It's fun, and I like giving like the customer a little nod. You know what I mean? It's exciting to see something that you ordered get packed online, or whatever. It's just also the acknowledgement because I don't get to do that for every customer. Because again, sometimes I'm packing at 3 or 4 in the morning, and I just want to pack the order because I'm tired and I want to go bed. But they get a handwritten note. Everyone gets a handwritten note of some sort. I love it, and it just gives a little behind the scenes.
Now, the videos you mentioned about your products drying, do you set that up as like a time lapse?
Yeah, because my phone will not be able to take all of that, however long it takes to cool. So yeah, it's definitely a time lapse. I can go into CapCut or even in the TikTok app now, like, basically CapCut and TikTok had a baby together, so you can slow it down or speed it up even more. But yeah, it's all time lapse, especially in the warmer months. That takes a while to cool. Once it hits summer, I won't be able to do any of the cooling stuff because I take everything downstairs to cool in my basement because that's the coldest part of my house, of my apartment. Yeah, otherwise, everything in the kitchen is just going to sit there like melting. We're not going to cool, and I need it to cool faster because it gets so hot in my place.
Do you have problems when you do shows when it's hot?
Yes.
With your products? Do you have to do anything special?
In the summertime, my products get, I tweak the recipes a little bit. Typically, I use a 76-degree coconut oil, but in the summer, I use a 92-degree coconut oil, first off. And then Belly Balm does not come out. Belly Balm goes on a break for the summer and comes back in the fall. And I make an announcement. My customers know because I'm like, otherwise, it's just going to be a tin of goo. And that's not what I want. And I don't want to add too much more beeswax to that because then it affects the spreadability and just how it works, like for the customer. And most of my customers understand that. So yeah, a lot of stuff gets more beeswax to it. It says everywhere, like my labels, my site just says, keep it out of the sun and high heat.
Right.
Like most people know not to have the lip balm like in the car in the summer.
Right.
And shea butter does that thing where it's like if it doesn't cool fast enough, like in the product, it does get a little beady. It doesn't affect how it works. It just, the texture is a little different. But yeah, in the summer when I was doing shows, it's like you could tell if you watch my table throughout the day, it starts to move because I'm trying to stay out of the sun.
Yeah.
Like I'll be like back out of my tent, trying to stay in the shade. Like I'm like, oh my God, the sun just keeps following me. But yeah, I have to tweak stuff for the summer. And then as it cools back down, it goes back to my regular recipe. But even in the winter time, I try my best to pay attention to where things are getting shipped. I'll be like, okay, this is going to what part of Texas? What, I'll look at the weather and I'll be like, what's the temperature like down there right now? Like, because Texas can be stupid hot, even and it's just like, okay, let me adjust this. I'm gonna make this recipe for this order. I had orders go to Hawaii. It's hot. Let me tweak this recipe, because I want it to get there for the customer to enjoy and not be like when they get it. So,
right.
So I try my best. Most people understand that it's a balm, it's a beeswax product. It's gonna get soft. It's just like when you order a soy candle. Soy candles melt at a lower temperature. So if they're getting shipped in the middle of the summer, it's gonna be goopy. You got to give it a chance to solidify again. It's just, unfortunately, that's just how it is. And I don't want to add, again, too much beeswax to my product to affect how it works. To affect too much of the feel. Because if you have too much beeswax in a lip balm, it's just going to be a little sticky and a little too it doesn't glide as well. When I was doing a lot of summer shows, some of my lip balms, I didn't tweak enough. It's in my summer did me wrong. The summer heat did me wrong. Listing on my site because they got grainy, which is still fine. But some people love it. They're like, I like that because they're like, it's like a little built-in exfoliant.
Yeah,
built-in exfoliant. It's not sugar. It's just what it does.
Yeah.
It's magic. Thank the sun.
Now that's another thing I wanted to talk to you about. You have on your website, you do a second sale. Explain what that is for people.
That's basically anything that I screw up or something that's been around for a little bit longer. I'm like, okay, it's still good. It's just not as fresh as I would like it to be. I try to have it go out as quickly as possible. I don't like it sitting for too long. Like right now we're in May. So I may have some stuff from Christmas that I'm like, I didn't move it as quickly. So I may go into a second sale. Sometimes it's like stuff I'm not sure. I'm like, I don't remember when I made this.
Yeah.
Second sale. So it's basically that stuff that I'm like, I want to move. It's still just as good. It's just, not as fresh as it was. And people like a deal, So yeah, that's basically what that is. Because I don't want it to go to waste.
Absolutely. Yeah. Do you print all your labels for your products yourself?
Yeah.
Did you design them yourself too?
I did. That's why you'll see some of the labels are wonky. Because I need to pay attention to this new printer. It's just an inkjet printer, like a home inkjet printer. But the other one, my older one that I just replaced, like the sheets of labels and the printer were fighting. And they were basically blaming each other because I was like, why is this doing that? Like it would print like the first couple rows would be fine, like in line, and then all of a sudden it would start getting a little wonky. So like you'll see some of my labels are like off center because it just did it. I couldn't get it to calibrate, and they're like, the printer company like, what's the label? And the label company like, it's the printer. Because like that printer did not have a label option.
Okay.
Neither does this one, but it seems to be printing a little bit better. And it's just like, I know it's fine. And then all of a sudden you see it not fine. And I'm like, I just lost like 8 labels because it went way off. Like, I'm just slapping this on there because then I did it.
Yes.
A human did this. That's why sometimes my labels aren't very straight. They're kind of crooked on them. Thing. Like a person did this. Like I don't have the nifty little things that some people have that like the label thing, like to put the label on straight. I don't have that. It's just me eyeballing this stuff up. So it's like, it was me. Someone didn't tell me for the longest. I had a typo on one of my labels for the longest time. Because, when you see something, you read it over and over again. It looks it corrects itself for you. I forget what I was doing. I think it was when I got my logo, when I finally got my official logo, and I was putting it on the label. I was like, how long has it? How long has it been there?
Oh no.
Nobody told me. Like, y'all did not tell me this. Like, thanks. But thanks for, not pointing it out to me either, being mean about it or anything. But I'm just like, it's been like that since how long? So yeah, I do everything myself. Like the labels, I just wanted to make them simple. I mean, as you can see from my social media, it is not aesthetically pleasing. It is a shit show. It is a dumpster fire. Like it is whatever is at the top of my head. I give props to all of the accounts that make their feeds look so pretty. Like they can do that. My products don't do that, like, because it just looks boring to me. Sometimes I get a nice shot. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I'm just like, this is just how it's going to be. Like, I think there was an audio I found on Instagram, and it's like this artist. She's like, I'm sorry if you followed me for my art, and this is what you're getting. She's like, I'm not a brand, I'm a person. She's like, and this is a space of chaos. And I'm like, that's me. Because I can't niche down. Like especially on TikTok, you're gonna get this. I'm like, everything's slowly coming back around now that Center Gives is over, so it's gonna be a little bit more of my content. You're getting me. I can't make things look pretty. I just made them simple. That's why I just says lip balm. There is kind of a little method behind my madness. Like you'll notice, like some of the things are different colors. So like the Baby Obama line, that's the color, that purplish maroony. I don't even know what color. It was a color that I liked. I don't even know what color that is. And then like the basics line is that blue. And that's just like, that's the solid lotion. That was basically what I started off with: the solid lotion, the headache balm, the tattoo balm. So the tattoo balm is in the extras line, but whatever. There is now a method to the madness. And the extras line is like that green color. Yeah. So you can kind of have an idea of like where things came about. The wood butter, I just made it brown because wood. I did not even stay with the same font. I just went with a different font. I was like, whatever, wood. But yeah, so there is kind of a color scheme to things, so kind of people have a better idea. And like,
yeah, that's a great idea.
I used the little icons for the flavors, the scents for some of the stuff, like the orange cinnamon clove. So the orange, the cinnamon, the clove. I get my little graphics just through Etsy. I buy the digital file. I also email the maker beforehand, like, hey, the designer, I'm like, how's your licensing work? How does this work? Is it okay to just use? Like, yeah, they're like, you're not using it for the like 99% of your label. It's just a little corner. They're like, that's fine. Like, because I did a lip balm, a custom lip balm for the Pittsburgh Ballet Theater, and I wanted a little ballerina, and I couldn't find any generic option. At that time, I wasn't using Canva. So I found a really cute one, and I reached out to the designer. I was like, hey, I want to put this on a lip balm and it's going for this. She's like, oh yeah. Because I think some have like, if you're printing it this many times or whatever, it's going on this many products or whatever, the fee goes up, the licensing fee goes up. I'm like, yeah, I'm only making this many. She's like, oh yeah, that's fine. I sent her an example of where I want it. She's like, oh yeah, because it was so small. It wasn't like the main part of the label. But otherwise, yeah. And plus, because I not creative. That's why, just some of the stuff just says Happy Frank. Just like Happy Frank and a little circle. Like,
And you designed your labels in Canva? Is that where you designed them?
no,
Oh.
I started off just using Avery.com.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I originally was printing on Avery labels, and now I use online labels software because that's where I order my labels from. I don't know how big of an order you have to place, but you get like access to their software, to their Maestro, their design software to use,
Okay.
like for free. So I don't know, I order so many labels. So I probably got, I don't know, years worth of access. And that's really nice to use. I'm not one that's going to use like Photoshop to design a label. I am lazy. I am not that savvy with design. I was very hesitant about using Canva for a while because I was using, it's now part of GoDaddy, but I was using Over, that app. I still use that app sometimes, but like I did fall into the Canva hole because it does make life easier.
It does. I love Canva.
Yeah, I'm not a graphic designer, so I don't do the stuff that those guys do. Like, I think it looks pretty. Sometimes I run stuff by a friend of mine who's like in advertising, like, how does this look? Does that make sense to you? Did I use too many fonts? Like, like, I think it looks okay. Like, is it too busy? Otherwise, I'm just like, I go with it. But yeah, everything I do myself. It's purely just keeping it simple and because I'm lazy.
What are some questions that you get asked a lot about your products?
Other than, is this soap? How do you use that? It's usually, how does that work? So that's usually like the solid lotion. It's just pick it up, let's rub it in. Because it's a new concept for a lot of people. They just, like, oh, like, and then the light bulb goes on and they totally get it. Like, oh, did you make this yourself? Those are the things you hear in the market.
I hear that a lot too.
Yeah. Did you make this yourself? Like, yeah. Sometimes like, will it melt? Like, yes, it will melt. If you leave it in the sun, it's going to melt. Or if you keep it in your pocket all the time, it will melt. Yeah, I think sometimes like, oh, how did you come up with this idea? Like, it's not my idea. Just to make my life easier and make someone else's life a little easier.
Yeah.
Even like the headache bomb. Like, if I can make your life easier, I get emails and messages from people. They're just like, oh my God, I love it. Thank you. That's all that matters, Like, so I feel like we're in a world where we want to help people, even in just the littlest way, even if it's just keeping your lips happy. Like I know someone who like, she swears by my naked lip balm. She's like, that's the only thing that works for me. She's like, I've tried so many other things. She's like, this is the only lip balm that works for me. And I'm like, that's great. I'm so glad that like I try other things and it doesn't work the same. It's like, that's awesome. And like, I think I put it on my Instagram like last year. Someone's like, she loves my lip balm. She's like, I tell my friends, like, even if I hated that bitch, I'd still buy her lip balm.
Now, you posted about some free small business courses that you took on Bucknell's website.
It was probably Bucknell's. I get Bucknell. I get obviously Penn State. I get on whenever I can, whenever I see something that like strikes my fancy. I highly recommend everyone get involved or access their local SBDC office because a lot of those courses are free. And the small business office, they're there to help you for free. So
that's great. Yeah. I didn't even know resources like that existed until I was scrolling through your page and I saw that and I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And it looks like they have a lot of great classes too, and they're all for free. I was looking at their website.
Yeah, there's a lot of free stuff, and you can get, if you want to go in and talk to someone in person, you can. And they offer so much help, especially if someone's just starting off and they have like their first steps. Like, these are the things that you need to start doing to get yourself off the ground. We have Happy Valley Launchbox. It's almost like a little incubator. They provide a lot of free help too. So we're lucky here that we have, those resources available to us, because Penn State's like right up the street and Happy Valley Launchbox is right down the street. So we're very, very fortunate, but I always recommend anyone take advantage if they can. And especially with a lot of these sessions being, just webinars, Zoom based, you can do it from anywhere. And it's a wealth of knowledge. I did do one, I forget who it was with. It could have been Score too, because I sometimes find something with Score that I like. And that's another small business they have mentors and stuff. And they also do courses. Because, you're never an expert. No one is an expert. Like, there's always going to be someone smarter than me who knows a lot more than me right next to me. Right. But I've sat in on some of the, like the social media stuff, and it's like, I forgot this part. Because social media is always changing. Like
Yeah.
the algorithm is like, it hurts my soul.
It's all over the place. I
Oh
know.
my God. Like, especially with TikTok, like they're trying to get small businesses to like pay for views. I have, my number of followers, but like just like a lot of people, like we're stuck at 200. It's between 200 and 300 views because TikTok does not want to throw us a bone. They want us to throw them money. So I'm like, I'm not paying you for views. So I will just sit here and struggle through, and people that do follow me and pay attention and who want to see my content will see it, but it's like, thanks. Because I mean, because I really lucked out with my very first TikTok post. Like that thing blew up for me. It's my very first one. I didn't know what I was doing. And I posted at like 3 a.m. I just put together, it was a tattoo bomb order. The lighting sucked, but I was just like, all right, let me just do this. I need to post because I was like, lurking around, just watching. And I'm like, just let me post it because I have to start somewhere. And next thing, it blow up. I'm like, well, I think over 500,000 views, I'm pretty sure on that one.
Wow.
And like, okay. And then like I kept posting random stuff. And then now it's just like 200 views, I think.
Mm-hmm. Are you in the creator fund?
I was for like a year, I think. And I pulled myself out because I saw like just a dip.
A lot of people say that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, it's not even, I think I had like $50 sitting in there.
Yeah.
Because like, they only had so much money, and the bigger creators are getting that money.
Mm-hmm.
They're getting the views. Like it's a struggle when you're like the small creator and you're trying to get up to that point. They're making it harder and harder to do that. It's also kind of comforting to know when you go to those accounts, those huge creators, and you see their views have dropped too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just me.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's like some beta thing now. I don't know. Somebody was like, I made some money. Like I forget the rate, the dollar per thousands of views is better, but you can't go back to the creator fund. But I don't know what the there's obviously qualifiers. Like you probably have to have so many views within like,
Mm-hmm.
30 days or whatever. Like I think that's what it was to get into the creator fund. I put myself out there for some of my posts, and it's just like, I don't know how some of these guys do it all the time, because you have obviously the trolls,
Mm-hmm.
those lovely trolls. They come out and it's like, dude, just get off my page.
Right.
It's like, you can scroll. I don't care. Like for me, like I didn't post my face for a while because TikTok can be a very cruel place at times. And I'm Asian. So I know there are the haters out there.
Mm-hmm.
So I just didn't want to put myself out there just yet with that. I mean, I grew up in, Southern Lancaster County.
Yeah.
Like we were the only Asian family in town I grew up in until we moved to a different part of like Lancaster. So like the town I grew up in is on the sundown towns list. And I never felt that. I did not feel that, thankfully. I was too young and too ignorant to notice that. I mean, I did get picked on my fair share. But yeah, so I didn't show my face for a while because of that. And also because I hate the way my mouth moves when I talk. But also I was like, well, it's also me. This business is me.
Yeah.
So I want people to get to know me. And I know some accounts, they're just like, it's all about the product. I'm like, you're gonna get to know me. If you don't like it, well, then move along. Like, because you get me with it. I've come to use the block button a lot more because I don't need that. Like if someone said something, like they came onto my Instagram and were saying stuff, and someone's like, no, she was DMing me. She's like, you don't need to put up with that. She's like, they came into your house and they started saying stuff.
Right.
They came in uninvited. She's like, you don't need to put up with them. Like, you're very right. I don't. Bye-bye, blocked.
Yeah.
It's like, or if you come in and you send me a creepy, like I've had people be very creepy, like pretty creepy, like, and it's like, block.
Yeah.
like you just don't come into someone's page and just be an asshole.
I know, people are nuts.
Yeah, I just don't understand. Like I feel like the internet has made people braver to be stupider.
Mm-hmm. You have a rewards program on your website. Tell me about that.
I just thought it'd be fun just to have something to kind of, for my customers, it's like a loyalty thing, thank you thing. And it's pretty easy. They just sign up for the newsletter. They get points. Their birthday, they get points. They get, points for purchases. The points turn into dollars towards their purchases. So I have customers that are regular customers, and some have gotten $20 off or $25 off their order, because they order so much. So why not, like, so I may not be able to do sales all the time, but I have my customers who come back all the time, so they deserve that. And sometimes I've actually sent random things out to people too. Like when I was trying to decide on Hello Sunshine, if I wanted to actually put it out there and if the scent was good, I made little vials and I just sent them out to some of my regular customers. Like, hey, just a little thank you. Let me know what you think of this, because I'm thinking about putting this on the site. Sometimes I include random things in their orders, as a thank you, because why not? Like I love getting little freebies from places that I order from. If I'm a regular order, it's like, oh yeah, like a free,
Yeah.
like that, or a free little thing. And I'm like, I can't give too much because I am so small, but like I give what I can. And like the points or something, like my thing, it's set up to automatically email people to be like, you have this much in reward. You can use this now if you want. And people use it, which is great.
That's great.
Yeah.
And I saw you have a referral program too, so that sort of goes along with that, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So it gives them the code, so they get, when they share the code, their friend gets a percentage off their first order of, I think it's 10 or more, and then they get, I think, dollars. I forget. It's been a minute.
Yeah.
So that's basically the idea, like,
Yeah.
they give a discount to a friend, they get a reward for sharing, and that's great. They're sharing about me, so they should get rewarded.
Yeah.
And I have some people that are just like my evangelists. They will sing from the mountaintops about my product, and it's just a way for me just to say thank you, even if it's small, but I want my customers to know I appreciate it, and they're doing this legwork of helping me get out there in front of people that may not have seen me before. It costs nothing to share something that you love with other people, and it can help a small business like ours, like it could help a lot. Like I would love, I think, I'm not completely sure, I think I would love it if my business like completely went viral. But I've seen what it does to some of these they're just like, I was not prepared.
Yeah.
That's the terrifying part. Like, because you're making everything is like, how fast can you sew?
Right. Not fast.
Yeah. And like, and that's the thing for me, I can crank out a bunch of solid lotions and a bunch of lip balms in one go. That's what I love about my product. It's relatively quick. But any of you fiber artists, like the knitters, the crocheters, anyone who has to use a sewing machine, most of you are not getting your worth.
Yeah.
When you price your stuff, because if you had to price it so you would get a living wage or even minimum wage, your product would be, people are like, I'm not paying that, because there's always going to be someone that's going, I'm not paying that anyway. And that's what I always feel bad, like, because I see how much time and effort goes into the products that you guys make, and it's just like, yes, there's time and effort that goes into mine, but again, I can crank out a bunch of them at once. Like I did that, that 1,200 piece order, like boom, because I didn't sleep for a few days, but I mean, if you were to make 1,200 units.
Well, that's what sometimes I think, like, why did I pick this to do? Why did I pick this? What am I doing?
You love it. It's just like ceramic artists. There's pros and cons to everything. Like your stuff is still lightweight to ship. You can stick it in a little in a poly mailer and mail it out.
I don't have to worry about it breaking.
Exactly. Ceramic artists, they have to pack it extra careful, and there's the weight. They're not paying for that shipping unless they're offering free shipping. But like, they have to there's all that involved, and you have to hope it gets there in one piece. For us, we just throw it into something and it just gets there.
Right.
So like, that's the thing, like pros and cons. Like for me, like my products are pretty affordable, and then I get jealous because it takes me all day sometimes to hit that booth fee, where someone who sells ceramics, it takes one piece, one or two pieces, and they're sold, and the rest is, I'm like I have to sell my entire booth if I want to make what you made today.
I'm in the same situation. I know, because some people are like, "Oh, I made $8,000 today," and I'm like, "What?" I mean,
like it's
I made
like,
800,
right? And
if
like,
that.
And it's like, because your stuff is more affordable, and and that's like it's always like, oh.
Are you in any brick and mortar shops?
I haven't gotten any orders from them lately because I've been slacking. I've been slacking. hard. So I had a nice little list. I need to update that list. I haven't gotten wholesale orders in a while. Some of my stuff's in Tate Farm, and that's on consignment. I cut down on the consignment. I think we've talked about this.
Mm-hmm.
I was in Lightning Bug because we did that lip balm collab. They're moving locations, so I don't know what they have of mine right now. I was in a shop in Bellefonte, but she hasn't ordered in a while, so I don't think she has any more of my inventory. Yeah, I'm in just a handful of stores, but I don't know if I really am because I haven't checked on them.
Now, I know we have talked before about protecting your small business from scammers. You were in that shop.
Oh, yeah.
We won't say their name, but there was
Consignment
a
shop.
consignment shop that was
Mm-hmm.
sort of scamming a bunch of creators, and you
Yep.
unfortunately were one of those.
Yes. Yes. So it was a consignment shop. She's one of the reasons why I don't do it. There's another shop that owes me money too. But she didn't, as far as I know, she was not like this store. A bunch of us went into it. When I came on board, I think they'd been open like 6 months or something like that. And it was a cute little shop, a bunch of great makers, great products. And the contract was you got paid every quarter. I got paid out once and then didn't get paid out again. It was late, running late. And then there was a buzz going around. I didn't know about this until one of the stores I'm in sent me a screenshot. It's like, did you know about this? I'm like, no. Someone had gone public on Facebook about having not been paid and then having been owed all of this money and that she wasn't paying other vendors. And it's like, oh, well, that explains that. So I was like, okay. So I was reaching out. I was like, hey, when am I going to get paid? She's like, oh, it's going to come. It's going to come. It's coming. Then she sent out separate, like, I think she didn't send like a mass email to everybody. I think she was just emailing separate people who are like the squeaky wheels. So they were moving locations, moving to a different store. They're moving locations. My product went with them to that new location. And I still hadn't gotten paid. And there was still more talk. More people were coming forward about having not been paid and wondering where the money was going.
Mm-hmm.
And it turned out that, they were using the money not to pay us. They were taking the money that we were owed, our percentage of the consignment, and using it elsewhere.
Yeah.
So I pulled my product in April of the following year, like that spring, I pulled my product. And I went in with the inventory. She always signed off on everything that I sent her. So I had proof that I had her sign off on the pieces that were missing, what was owed. And I was determined to get paid that day. And me being the nice person that I am, when she started the waterworks, the tears started coming, like, fine. I'm like, just put down that you owe me and that you're going to pay me on this day. She never paid. Because, she owed a bunch of people money, whatever. She owes a bunch of people money. I understand that it takes time to get dug out of the hole, but she, wasn't paying. She was trying to make payments and then she wasn't. And then people filed with the magistrate.
Yeah.
They got the judgment against her. Like, I think one vendor got over $1,000, and she had to fight to get paid even after the judgment. And I got tired of it. Like, I got fed up. Like, I posted it to my TikTok and I posted a Google review, and that lit a fire under her ass. And then she actually made one payment and then paid me off shortly after. And then she had the balls to message me to ask me to remove the review. I was like, I did not say I would ever do that. I'm like, I never agreed to remove it. She's like, I paid you months ago. I'm like, no, you paid me like 2 or 3 months ago. I'm like, no, I'm not removing it. I even edited. I was honest. This was the timeline, how long it took her to pay me. I'm like, this is when I pulled my stuff. This is what happened. This is blah, 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 blah. And so I'm like, I did her the favor of at least going in and editing and saying that she finally paid, but I wasn't going to remove it. But yeah, so she owes a bunch of vendors money. Vendors were trying to get their money. Some just gave up. They didn't want to put in the fight because she would tell them it would cost them more money to file with the magistrate than what she owed them.
That's awful.
Then they closed that location and moved to another location.
And changed the name slightly.
They changed the name slightly.
They did that several times.
Yeah. So like the first time it happened, they got called out and it all went down. They were like, oh, we're sorry, we're learning, we're gonna do this, we're gonna move to weekly payments. They did it for a minute, and I think they just started doing it again to their vendors. And like her response to my Google review was like, we were completely transparent. And like, no, you weren't. That was not in the contract.
Right.
That you could take my money, take the money that you owed vendors and use it for your operations, for the business operations. Like it was nowhere in that contract. So, we're sorry, we're going to learn from this. And then they did it again when they moved to this other location. Like last summer, people were coming out again. They're like, still not paid. She's doing it again. They're doing it again. And then Christmas came around. They're doing it again. Like, and she closed that store. She closed her store. She's doing something else now. I don't even know what. But there's a whole group of people that just like haven't gotten paid.
That's awful.
A lot of them, I think, are the cost of filing for the judgment, because I think it's like I forget, it's like $100 or something like that. But even if they win the judgment, it's still going to be a fight to get the money from her. But the fact that, okay, you do it once, they didn't even do like a public apology to like, this is what we did. They kept trying to make it seem like they were the victims. Like that's how I feel anyway. Like they kept trying to make it seem like, oh, this happened, pandemic, blah, 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 blah. No, just be like, we took their money. We used it to keep the store open. We took their money without permission, without consent, and we haven't paid them back. And so,
yeah, because it was a lot of people on this like Facebook thread about it that I was reading.
Yeah, and then like, because they posted something to Facebook, we're going to be transparent. If you have questions, this whole thread started up, and then they deleted that post, because I think they were just getting called out left and right. Because like they had their supporters go, "Oh, you'll be okay." I'm like, do you all know what they did?
Right.
Like, are you new here? Like,
right.
Clearly, you must be new here. Like, they did it to other people again. This is not their first time. This is their second time. Now it's their third time. What lit a fire under my ass to write that Google review is because they got nominated for like some retail, like best of gift shop. They were one of the nominees to get to like the final nominations. And I was like, oh, hell no.
Right.
I was so pissed when I saw that. And I was like, no. You do not know, because like people, their supporters don't know. There are people who follow them do not know what they have done, because they keep trying to make the vendors look like the assholes for wanting their money. And I feel bad for these vendors. I feel like they don't know what to do, like because they can't file a civil action suit together. I forget why they can't go together. They have to do it all individually for whatever reason. Because it would be good to have some sort of class action thing for like. Look at all these people they fucked over. And that's why I kept my review up. And like, of course, when they closed that store down, started a new store, that whole listing disappears. So my review is gone. I did it because I didn't want other vendors to get screwed over.
Right.
With her.
It's a big deal.
Yes. Because it leaves a bad taste in your mouth as a vendor. Because people are like, I'm never doing it again. I'm never doing it again. And there are other perfectly legit, good consignment shops out there.
There was a shop out here, and so I did a little research on them, and it seemed very weird. I was getting a weird vibe from the shop. And then all of a sudden I was like, I'm not going to pursue this. Yeah, they up and closed. As far as I know, they took all of the vendors' like items with them. They couldn't get their stuff back. They just up and closed their shop. I was like, ooh, dodged a bullet there. It's like, what is wrong with people?
That is so messed up. Like when I worked at that shop in our mall, there was a consignment shop that I was in. I was one of the artists, and I worked there too. Like it was expensive for them to have the setup. Like they had a consignment shop software, which is more consignment shop like for clothing.
Okay.
But they had it so the vendors could go in to the system, sign in, and see in real time how much product was in there, what sold, how much their payout was going to be. And a lot of these places don't have that. I mean, I understand. They said it was a very expensive software to have access to. So some you're just going in there with trust.
Yeah.
That they're going to track this. And some it's just like just written down. Or just marked off somehow. And you're like, well, did that really sell? And like the other thing that gets me about consignment shops, I'm like, well, what happens when something gets stolen from your store? Well, that should be under your insurance. Like, why should it be under my insurance? It's in your store.
Right.
In your store, under your care. You don't know what if they're like, oh, I need to give someone a gift. So I'm just going to take that and mark it as, oh, it was stolen. But I don't have to pay you for that, even though it was under my care. You're responsible for that. Like that is some bullshit. Like I don't know how to make that any better, but it should not be on the vendor for shit that got stolen from your shop. That's just wrong. So that's another reason why I just don't want to do consignment anymore. I want to be able to have faith in other people. I understand for stores, it's lower risk. It's, they're not paying for inventory ahead of time because they've got to start somewhere. Sometimes they just don't have that kind of capital to buy all of this info. I understand. But fair also makes it easier too. They have there's, what is it, 60-day, 90-day net terms too to also help.
Are you on fair?
I am.
Oh, okay.
I just haven't really focused on it much, but I'm there. I'm on Tundra as well, but I don't even know.
Oh, I never heard of that one yet.
Yeah, that's the first one I got on. Because I tried to get into fair once and I got denied. And then one of my maker friends who also has a retail store, she made the recommendation, because you can, the stores can go, hey, I want this maker. Can you try to get them? But that's how I got in, which is great.
Okay.
Very helpful. But yeah, I understand pros and cons behind consignment shops. I just don't want to deal with that, and plus for me, it's just upkeep on that. I don't have the bandwidth to go in and keep checking on stuff like that.
Well, we are nearing the end of the podcast. And that means fun fact time. Do you have your random fact for me?
It's World Bee Day today.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw you posted that. That's awesome.
It's World Bee Today. I actually get my beeswax locally. So the guy's 10 miles away from me and his bees are fairly local. Some I think he ships out. So whenever I go to pick up beeswax, I always say hi to the bees because there's a little hive there too, right by the house. So I say hello to them. So yeah, my beeswax comes locally. I need to look this up because I need to really understand it. They say beeswax has a memory. Because if you watch some of my cooling videos, you notice the little honeycomb pattern in some of the balls.
I'll have to look for that.
Take a look. I get my bricks of beeswax in 3 to 5 pound bricks. So I have to melt them down into something that's workable for me. So there's at least one video where I'm pulling them into bars, in the soap bar molds. And you'll see the little honeycomb pattern. It's kind of
wow.
Tricky. I might have to ask Hank Green about that. I need someone who's smarter than me to tell me why that happens. But they're just beeswax has a memory, honey has a memory. It's really trippy to see that form.
That's so cool.
And then you don't see it once it's completely cooled, but as it's doing it, you'll see it happen. I don't think that's a fact, but it's what you see. I don't know why it does that.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. I really enjoyed talking to you.
Thank you for having me. It was fun.
All right. I'll talk to you later. Have a good one.
All right. Thanks, you too.
Bye. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Handmade with Heart podcast. Don't forget to follow Pamela at Still Not a Hippie, and you can find me at Scrappy Stitch and the Handmade with Heart podcast.